the Weird Al Yankovic Story. Ellen, you saw the movie at the Newport Beach Film Festival. I'm sure it was chaos to get in because it was a huge premiere. This is like the West Coast premiere, right? Because it already showed.
It was in Toronto. It was in
Toronto. Screened in Toronto.
Yeah, yeah. You know, these premieres, the adjectives they put in front of it. West Coast, maybe. I wonder if it's the U.S. premiere, but I have a feeling it's already played in the U.S.
I haven't heard it, but like, tell us about. First of all, I have to just say for a minute, I am a huge Weird Al Yankovic fan. Love Weird Al Yankovic. I mean, obviously from his early music videos, like way back in the 80s, to just his sense of humor about life. I did meet him on the set of Attack of the Show once. And also, I was at a weird party with a bunch of animators once, and he just happened to be there. And this was way back in the 90s. And I don't know, I love, he's got this kind of positivity. And if you ever like have heard interviews with him, he's just this, he's a kind of a big nerd, a super nice guy and a big nerd. But tell us, like, a biopic about Weird Al.
Mostly well, I mean, I've got to say, my brother introduced me to Dr. Demento back in the 1980, and that's my first experience with Weird Al. And honestly, Dr. Demento opened my world to comedy in a way that no other person ever has. And so I will say this, Weird, for me and my daughter, funniest movie of the year, hands down. And my description of this movie has to be very brief because anything I say is going to be a spoiler. In fact, the director was there along with Dr. Demento at the screening. He was talking about the movie before we saw the movie, and every time he would get even close to saying something about the story, the audience would yell out, "No spoilers," and then he would just kind of pipe down. This is definitely a movie you have to see you have to see with almost no knowledge, except for the fact that you're a Weird Al fan. I think. Let me describe it in a few ways. One is it's probably the PG version of Walk Hard. It's also he meant what I want to say here. So it's PG version of Walk Hard. I think my love for this movie has a lot to do with my fandom for Weird Al, and so I'll qualify it that way. There's so much Weird Al stuff in it that, if you're a fan of his and you like this silly kind of movie, you're going to love Weird. I would say if you're not into silly comedies, if you're not into the parody comedies like Airplane and Walk Hard and the like, Hot Shots, you're probably going to want to pass on this. But, if for the fans of Weird Al, hands down, you need to go out and see this movie. So it basically follows his life, and the only thing the director would say about it is they got about 3% of Weird Al's actual life right in the movie. It is Weird Al telling his story in only the way Weird Al can. What's funny is a lot of the cast and crew of the Weird movie, they're part of the cast and crew of the Blonde movie. In fact, Julianne Nicholson plays Marilyn Monroe's mother, her abusive mother in Blonde. She plays Weird Al's mother in this movie. And it just seemed like that everyone who worked on Blonde needed to do this film to kind of wash off every ugly feeling they felt about Blonde and put it into this movie. Just a couple of things to note. Daniel Radcliffe, he is ripped in this movie. In fact, we're talking Carrot Top levels of body here. His shirt is off in almost half of the entire movie. And then finally, I'll mention, the best thing about this movie is just uncovering the toxic relationship he had with Madonna, and that plays out through it. Just as movie in the whole, it is loaded with jokes, it is loaded with gags. And I think it suffers from what movies like this tend to suffer from, is that it is so the comedy is so front loaded in the front half of the movie that the back end tends to feel like a letdown somewhat. And that certainly happens here. The pace of the gags start to slow down at the end. And so yeah, I'll just say it. If you are a fan of Weird Al, if you're a fan of these type of movies, UHF, you are gonna love Weird. And I think, like you said, like you say often, your mileage is gonna vary, but that it's in that wheelhouse, definitely.
All right, so you're saying you strongly recommend it.
Hard recommend.
Hard recommend. A hard recommend. Okay, well, I have a couple questions. One,
yes,
why is this not in the theater? I'm dying to see it in a theater with an audience.
I think
it's like a Roku
I don't
original.
know I don't know the actual, but is it not going to get at least a minimum, like a week or two in the theaters, or is it going straight to Roku?
It's literally a Roku original. So I have first of all, by the way, I love Roku boxes. I know people love their Apple TV. Roku is great. It's more open source in the sense that there are like private channels you can add to your Roku box. Just look up Roku private channels. You'll know what I'm talking about. And
my TV's a Roku, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can get a Roku TV or Roku box, or you can get like a Roku stick for like $30. I've been a huge fan of Roku and sort of begrudgingly have used Apple TV, but Roku is, I love it. I love it because you can find the weirdest channels, international channels and television. It's great. But the fact that it's a Roku original is going to stop a lot of people from seeing it. Why is this not in the theater when we could use a good comedy? So I kind of understand. I get the feeling that this is not an accurate biopic. It is by design meant to be like almost like a Paul Bunyan, right? Like he's a legend. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, that's pretty much as far as I can go. It is, it is. You are 100% right. And it is as if Weird Al had wrote his own autobiography
and made him the cool guy in every scene.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like over the top cool.
You have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is that it goes in such a direction that you just don't expect it. Just your description that you gave is 100% accurate, but then it goes in that Weird Al. It just takes that Weird Al turn, and again, I cannot spoil it. You need to see it.
And the fact that Madonna's like a recurring character in it sounds really funny, like a love interest, and like almost a love interest slash rivalry.
Yeah, it gets really nuts at the end, and again, I can't say anything about it.
All right, but you saw with the crowd, they must have loved it, right?
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, the crowd was there to see Weird, and every time Dr. Demento was mentioned, a huge applause from the crowd.
Oh my God.
And and I think okay, so the structure of the story is basically your typical the musician biopic. That's the way they structure this story and put it in Weird Al's life. And but I would say 30% of the jokes are very inside baseball, and that's why I say if you're a Weird Al fan, you're gonna understand these jokes. And it's gonna, I was certainly laughing, and I think people who are not familiar with Weird Al, those jokes may fall flat.
Right. Cool. Well, look, I this has been on my radar since I saw like the first picture of Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al. I'm a Weird Al fan. I mean, just like the fact that he's remained. This is what's funny. He made fun of so many bands. He has outlived the relevancy of those bands to today. His career spanned decades, and many of the people that he mocked and made fun of, their careers were like one-hit wonders. I mean, I guess Madonna.
That is addressed in the movie, by the way.
Is it really? Because I do feel that like, wow, like Weird Al, you would have thought like, oh, parody songs, that's so dumb, but they're catchy. And in some ways, I kind of feel like I remember his words to songs more than I do the original song. I find myself like, I'll go like, well, wait, what's the real words? This is the Weird Al version.
There's a moment in there where that idea goes off in another insane direction that again I can't talk about.
Okay, that's great. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm glad.
but the other thing I'll mention cameos galore. I mean, they went through basically Weird Al's celebrity friend Rolodex, and everyone showed up in it. Your buddy David Dastmalchian is in it.
I love David. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
and Conan O'Brien is in it, and he plays Andy Warhol, and just the cameos. There's so many people, and you're just gonna be looking at going, who is that? Who is that?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm dying to see it. Why is this not in theaters? What a huge missed opportunity.
You need to see it in a theater if you can. I don't know how you are, but how you will. I don't know why that decision was made, but and then like the end of it, Weird Al wrote an original song, and then at the end in the lyrics points out the fact that now this song is technically eligible for an Academy Award.
Oh wow. Okay, so now other question: was Weird Al at the screening at Newport Beach?
No, he wasn't. It was just the director and Dr. Demento.
Was there a Q&A?
Yeah, there was Q&A ahead of time. It was done by a guy from the LA Times.
Did you film it?
I did film it. So we'll
post it.
Yeah, I'll post it in the community tab.
Okay, only for members. So if you're a member join the channel as a member, it's not, I don't think it's too pricey. I think it's a reasonable price. But Alan and I are posting like bonus stuff for members only. So I want to watch it. So.